Hello, this is episode 3 of the Payne Report. I'm your host, Cameron Payne, and I just wanted to start out by saying my Twitter is CP4227. My Instagram is PayneRCam4227, all lowercase on that. Nothing special, just easy lowercase. But anyway, today we are going to talk about the upcoming national championship game, NFL playoff picks, and then I am going to not review, the Tennessee Titans and Baltimore Ravens playoff game for Super Wildcard weekend. So it should be some interesting stuff, and let's just get talking. So, anyways, the national championship game right now, there has been reports from Columbus, Ohio, that Ohio State has had a COVID outbreak. So the game right now, it was in question earlier this week, but it has been pretty much steady that the game will be played Monday, January 11th still. So that is still scheduled to play. And my pick for this game is Alabama. Mainly because Alabama, I think their offensive firepower is just going to be too much for Ohio State to handle. I mean, you got the Heisman winner Devontae Smith, first of all, on the outside. He has a pretty good uh, a complimentary receiver and John Mechie with him. Saban did mention Jalen Waddle, who be astronomical if he came back from his injury to be able to play in this game. So if Jalen Waddle is suiting up, you got John Mechie and Devontae Smith. That receiving core is way too much to handle. And I mean, even if they are able to slow down the receivers by playing a lot of zone coverage and playing back, Alabama will just hand the ball to Najee Harris, and Najee Harris is a really, really good running back. I mean, we all saw the hurdle against Notre Dame. In fact, when I saw that hurdle, I thought, man, he's going to take this to the house, but it's like, oh my gosh, I'm surprised he didn't take it to the house for a touchdown, because he hurdled him mid-stride and just kept going. But in turn, I guess another reason why too, is that will Ohio State be deep enough because they had COVID problems at on the offensive line, on the defensive line? So will they be deep enough at those positions? Another thing I think is telling is that Ohio State secondary is not as good as they have in years past. Yes, they did slow down Clemson, but outside of Amari Rodgers, who on that Clemson's receiving corps scares you. I mean, Justin Ross, yes, but Justin Ross wasn't suited up for the entire season. He was dealing with an injury himself. I believe he was coming back from spinal surgery, so he didn't even play all season. So it's not like they had Justin Ross or Amari Rodgers there for them. He just had Amari Rodgers, and one person you can just shut down, and that's it. But I guess another question mark, can Justin Fields replicate his 6 touchdown performance from the semifinal game? I don't know if he can. Is he healthy? Because he did take a big hit from James Stowski in that game. Everyone saw it. You could tell he was in pain. I just too many question marks for Ohio State for me to pick Ohio State to win this game. I think Alabama's offensive firepower is too much. I believe their defense can slow down Ohio State enough, and I just don't really think Ohio State can put up like the points to keep up with Alabama. Yes, they're going to put up points. I mean, it was evident in the Notre Dame game that Notre Dame could move the ball against Alabama, but when they got into like Bama territory or near that midfield stripe, Bama's defense just locked down and Notre Dame just couldn't really finish it per se. So, and I guess another thing here is, will Ohio State stick with the run game, because the run game with Trey Sermon has been hot the last couple of games. I mean, Trey Sermon broke Eddie George's all-time rush yards record in a game, and literally in the Big Ten championship game against Northwestern. So it would be interesting to see if they stick with the run, but the fact that Ohio State secondary is just last in the Big Ten and giving up pass yards. They're giving up around 260 yards per game. I just think the offense for Alabama is just going to win them a championship. And it's very telling from Alabama from 10 years ago, because 10 years ago they were defense, run to set up the pass, and it was old school football, but now it's innovative offense and defense is just steal possession here or there get a couple stops here or there. It's not locked down Alabama defense. This is very, very well testament to Nick Saban to be able to adjust in today's college game because he saw the shift and he adjusted. And I think that is what separates Nick Saban from other college coaches. But anyway, I think Alabama will come away with a win here. I mean, the over under for this game, I believe, was around 70 something points. I think it's going to hit the over for that. And I think you'll see a final score of 45-35 or 49-38 Alabama. That's my final score prediction. All right, now we will move into NFL playoff picks into Super Wildcard Weekend. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is being called Super Wildcard Weekend because you got 3 wildcard games on Saturday, 3 wildcard games on Sunday. I think at the addition of the new playoff team and the wildcard, and it just adds another wildcard game, and everyone's excited to see football. You got football on Saturday and Sunday, triple headers. Great. So let's first pick the NFC games. I believe the Chicago Bears is visiting the higher seeded New Orleans Saints. Sorry about that. And I got the Saints winning this game. I kind of wanted to pick the Bears here because they were hot going in, but I mean, getting blown out in your last game of the season against Aaron Rodgers, I think just killed a lot of their momentum going into this. So I mean, they're 9-7, and Mitchell Trubisky's just not a good quarterback. Their defense is good, but I think even if Alvin Kamara can't go, which I think he's going to be able to go because the game's on a Sunday, he should be fine. And Michael Thomas is expected to go. So if you got Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Drew Brees, they'll put up points. The Bears can't keep up. New Orleans has a really good defense too. So I am picking the Saints here. I'm going to say the final score will be 35-14 or 24-7. That it's just going to be it's not really going to be a close game, and if it is, it's just going to be like a low-scoring blowout. So that's what I pick in this game to win the New Orleans Saints. Next is the LA Rams at the Seattle Seahawks, and I really don't know who to pick here because the Rams play the Seahawks tough. They always do, and everyone's saying, let Russ cook. Well, in the early part of the season, Russ was cooking, and then whatever happened in the midway through the season, he just was cooking. It just wasn't good food. I can tell you that because he was throwing turnovers. The fact that the Philadelphia Eagles gave them a scare, the fact that the Giants went into Seattle with a backup quarterback Colt McCoy was playing for them, and they beat Seattle, says something to me. But if Jared Goff can't go, that does. Jared Goff is by no means like a make or break type of quarterback for the Rams. They can win without him, but he just knows the system, and I think it is interesting when you have a backup quarterback. I believe the name was John Wolford, who played in their Week 17 game against the Cardinals, and it was just a crap show fest, horrible game to watch. So, if Jared Goff's not playing, I think it's just going to be a close one because the Rams' defense is tough. But I'm ultimately going to pick the Seahawks on the fact that Jared Goff may not play, and if he is playing, he's not 100% healthy. And even then, a 100% Jared Goff is not that good anyways. So I'm picking Seattle Seahawks to probably barely squeak by the Los Angeles Rams. And next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or as Pat McAfee says, the Tampa Bay Gronkaneers, versus the Washington Football Team. Now, this is an interesting matchup. You got, Tom Brady playing. I believe this is like his first time, not his first time playing in a wild card weekend, but his first time playing as a wild card. So meaning that his team hasn't won the division and that they're going on the road and they will go on the road throughout the playoffs. So, and you got the Washington Football Team, which is a very well-coached, well-disciplined team with Ron Rivera. Chase Young coming off the edge. They got a really good front seven. I mean, what they've spent, I believe they spent the last 4 years in the first round have been defensive linemen. So, I mean, you got Daron Payne, I believe Montez Sweat, and Chase Young. That's just a nasty group to handle up front. And the formula to beat Tom Brady is to pressure him up the middle so he can't step up in the pocket and dissect your defense. That has been the key with beating Tom Brady is get your hands on him, pressure him, constantly get pressure on him without blitzing, mind you. So, I mean, Washington does have the front seven to be able to do that. It's just interesting, can they keep up on offense? Does their offense have enough juice to be able to put up enough points? Because Tampa Bay will put up points. They will get their points. It probably won't be anything like 49 or 50 or anywhere near that number. I think it'll be more in the 30s or around 20-ish points is what they'll score. But Tampa Bay also has a pretty good defense in their own right. And Alex Smith, he's basically comeback player of the year. Can he, get them on the drives that they need to get to be able to win this game? So it's a very intriguing matchup. I think it's a fun matchup. You got Rivera and Alex Smith, kind of like the cardiac comeback kids versus the high-flying, fancy-smanchy Lamborghini car and Bruce Arians and Tom Brady and Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and all the offensive firepower Tampa Bay has. But interesting thing for Tampa Bay, Mike Evans may not be able to go, and Devin White is out with COVID. So those are potential factors, especially in the offensive ball if Mike Evans can't go, but they do have other weapons like Antonio Brown, like Chris Godwin, even Scotty Miller in there, Rob Gronkowski. So they got weapons they can rely on too. But it will be a matter of Cam Washington. I think the X factor in this game, Cam Washington get in the red zone, score touchdowns, and not kick field goals. And I don't think that's going to happen because I think the Buccaneers offense will be too much for them to handle, and Washington football team will not be able to keep up. I got the final score at 24-10, 28-17, round that number. And on the AFC side, we got the Colts, the Indianapolis Colts at the Buffalo Bills. This is a very intriguing matchup here. Phillip Rivers, probably one of his last go-arounds going into the playoffs versus a Bills team that is sporting really good offensive firepower with Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen. The Colts defense is tough. You got Darius Leonard, linebacker, DeForest Buckner on the D-line. They got some interesting pieces in the secondary with Malik Hooker. So you got a tough defense in the Colts going up against a really good offense in Josh Allen and the Bills. And even on the other side, the Bills defense isn't what it was the past couple years, but they're still solid against Phillip Rivers. And Phillip Rivers has had his struggles this year, but it's the run game too with Jonathan Taylor. I think has taken a lot of pressure off him, and he's been pretty good the last couple of weeks. So I think the run game with Jonathan Taylor and Phillip Rivers, maybe, just don't lose the game for your team. I think that's kind of what the game plan should be for the Colts, is to run the ball, keep the ball away from Josh Allen, and Phillip Rivers, don't lose us the game. I know that's a silly thing to say because Phillip Rivers is a proven winner in this league, but Phillip Rivers as of late is just not doing it for me. The Colts need a better quarterback than Phillip Rivers, I believe, if they want to win a Super Bowl, because they got the defense, they got the run game with Jonathan Taylor, even with Nakeem Hines too. So it'll be very interesting to see. I want the Colts to win because I want them to go to Kansas City and get smoked, and I'm a Titans fan. I want to see Kansas City again. But I want the Colts to win, but I'm not going to pick the Colts. I'm picking the Bills because I believe the Bills is a smarter pick here. I've heard people say, especially today, they may go with the Colts because of playoff inexperience with the Bills. Well, the Bills, I saw a video of them in practice, having fun. I believe they were dancing to MC Hammer, and they were just getting loose, and it looked like they were having fun. And I wouldn't want to play that team in the first round of the playoffs. But just they seem confident, they seem together. Stephon Diggs said he's going to suit up and play. Even though Cole Beasley is out, Stephon Diggs has had a monster year, so I'm going to pick the Bills to win this game. I believe the final score will be 28-21 or 31-28. I think it'll be a close one. It'll be an interesting matchup, but I'm ultimately going to pick the Bills here. And next up, we have the Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I feel bad for the Cleveland Browns here. The Cleveland Browns, I believe their last playoff berth was 2003. I believe it's 17 years. The playoff drought for them finally gets snapped. They punched their ticket into the playoffs. Against the Steelers last week, ironically. And I feel for them because they'll be without their head coach and their play caller on offense and Kevin Stefanski, their head coach. And I think that's really going to affect them this game. At first, I was thinking about picking the Browns to win this game because the Steelers ultimately, in the second half, outside the second half of that Colts game, they forgot how to play football. It looked like it just looked a mess. And the first half of that Colts game, the entire Bengals game, they just looked a mess. And it was kind of concerning going into the playoffs. And the fact that, Pat McAfee was talking about it. He said he would have had, Ben Roethlisberger and a couple other starters on offense and a couple other starters on defense playing a little bit of opening series snaps to keep that rhythm of flow from that second half of that Colts game going. But they didn't do that, so it could be interesting to see, will they come out sloppy? But the fact that Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski will be out with COVID for this game, I couldn't pick against the Steelers. I think, and it's kind of concerning too for the Browns because I think if they're ultimately going to lose this game, and it's going to be calling for almost Baker Mayfield's job to be in question too, and where do you go from here in terms of Baker Mayfield? I mean, he's good for what the Browns want to play right now, but there's no clear upgrade. They can't get anybody in the draft. They can't really get anybody in free agency, so you're almost stuck with him, and it just sucks because they're going to probably lose this game. Baker Mayfield's going to be questioned by the media. Oh, is Baker right for the Browns? He is right for the Browns right now. I believe that. And, it's only his third season in the league, and I saw something too with Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa is that should the Dolphins move on from Tua? I'm like, oh my gosh, are young quarterbacks nowadays just not getting chances? I mean, we saw a couple years ago with Josh Rosen, and it's just young quarterbacks aren't really given the chance to develop. I mean, look at the Bills. If they weren't patient with Josh Allen, they wouldn't be having this year right now. And it's not to say that Baker Mayfield's Josh Allen, but my point is, give these young kids time to develop, show you something. I know as a Titans fan, we gave Marcus Mariota 5 years. 5 years to play, to develop, to replicate what he did in his sophomore season, and he ultimately couldn't do that, and that's fine. The franchise is in a good place where it is right now with Ryan Tannehill. So I just think give them time. Give them their rookie contract. Pick up the fifth-year option if you need to. Give them time to develop and see where they're at. But sorry for going off there and just rambling on and going on that tangent. That's not even remotely close to the game. It just bugs me to see all these young quarterbacks get into question like this. But ultimately, I'm going to pick the Steelers to win this game. I think it's probably not going to be close because you're not going to have your offensive coordinator, not your offensive coordinator, your head coach who calls the plays for you, and it's just going to be different. And sadly, the Browns haven't been able to get on the practice field until I think yesterday. Oh no, their facility was closed on Thursday, I believe. Oh no, their facility was closed Wednesday, and I believe it was closed today on Thursday. So who knows? They haven't been able to practice. So I'm taking the Steelers here, 24-0 or 17-7, something like that. It'll be low scoring because Steelers just really still don't know how to play football. So, and Next up is the Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans. And I am going to give a disclaimer here. I am a Tennessee Titans fan. I'm not going to pick this game evenly. I'm picking the Titans because I love the Titans. They are my favorite team. I'm going to pick them. Hell, if they were 0-6, if they were a 1-15 team or 1-4 or a 2-14 team playing the Super Bowl champions, I would pick the Titans because I love this team and I believe in this team. And you know what? I am going to break down the team and the matchup here. The Ravens have a good run game. Yes, they broke the record. They didn't break a record, my bad. But they set a franchise record with rush yards in a game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. Their defense sucks. Their defense isn't good. Their front seven isn't all that. Granted, the Titans did lose to the Bengals early on, but that was early on in the year. And I think Tennessee has probably learned from that loss like you should. You should learn from your losses. And the fact that everyone in the national sports media, this really gets under my skin, acts like Baltimore's going to go in there and just mollywop them. Just mollywop the Titans. Okay, yeah, sure. Go ahead, believe that. Because look what you said last year. You said the Titans had no shot, and they punched the Ravens in the mouth, punched their tickets to the AFC Championship, and crashed the party. That's what they did. And RG3, the Ravens' backup quarterback, RG3, put out on Twitter after the Titans won and beat the Texans, won the AFC South, and the matchup was basically set at that point. He said, I guess it's time for us to get our bike back. Are you kidding me? You know what's going to happen? Derrick Henry and the boys are going to keep your bike. They're going to throw it in the garbage. They're going to spray paint it and then light the garbage can on fire because you're not getting your bike back, okay? Derrick Henry owns the Baltimore Ravens, okay? They're going to run the ball, not 10 times, not 15 times, not 20 times, not 30 times. They're just going to run the ball. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Punch this team in the mouth. Give revenge for what they did back in 2008 when Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs and that defense of thugs injured Chris Johnson and ended probably one of the best Titan seasons ever by taking him out in the second quarter of the game. I was 7 years old when that happened, and I remember it. And it still gets under my skin that happened. It's almost like if the Titans, if they win this game, is putting those demons to bed back from 2008. I know it's two completely different teams, two completely different coaching staffs. Ownership for the Tennessee Titans has basically changed at this point because Bud Adams did pass away, and his daughter, Amy Adams Strunk, is the controlling owner. But Titans fans are still bitter from that game. I can tell you that. We are still bitter. We are still upset by that game because CJ2K was injured. And that wasn't the year he ran for 2,000 yards. But still, the fact that Chris Johnson, their best offensive player, was purposely injured in that game sets off Titans fans still. It still sets me off. And it makes me mad. And last year's playoff victory was great. It felt great to get that revenge, to ruin Baltimore's best season, basically. I know I'm going off on a biased rant here, but I am angry, so I'm going to calm down for a little bit, and I'm going to try to break down the matchup here. Okay, so the Ravens do have a talented quarterback with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is great. I believe his stats on the season, if I can pull those up real quick, Lamar Jackson has around 2,700 passing yards. That's really good. He's got 26 passing touchdowns, 64% completion percentage, 9 interceptions, 99.3 quarterback rating, and 1,000 rushing yards, 7 rushing touchdowns. That is really good production for the quarterback position. And I have to say, they are hot going into this game. And I think after the Pittsburgh Steelers game, when they got pushed around with COVID, when Lamar came back for that Monday night thriller against Cleveland, it was almost a sense of, okay, the Ravens are going to get hot here. They're going to get hot going into the playoffs, and you're not going to want to be the team that plays them. And I think the team that can beat them basically in the first round is the Tennessee Titans. If the Bills were going up against the Ravens, I'd be nervous if I was a Bills fan. If the Steelers were going up against the Ravens, I'd be nervous if I was a Steelers fan. The Titans faithful, yes, we're nervous because it's a playoff game, but we are confident in the team's ability to win this game. Even with the bad defense, this team can win this game. They shouldn't be counted out, and the fact that they're a 3-point home underdog is going to put a chip on their shoulder. Everyone in the media said Titans can't win. Vegas said Titans can't win, 3-point underdog. Well, you know what? We all seen before when this team is doubted, when this team is, basically said, oh, they can't win. Yeah, they prove people wrong. And it goes to show that Derrick Henry, 2,000-yard rusher, wasn't even talked about in Week 17. Okay, yeah, 2,000 yards, no big deal. It's not like he's not like the 8th player in NFL history to do that. Ryan Tannehill, he's a game manager. It's not like he threw 33 touchdown passes, completed 65% of his passes, had 7 rushing touchdowns, ran for 266 yards, and has more passing yards than Lamar Jackson at over 1,000 yards with 3,819 yards passing. So it's not like, well, Ryan Tannehill, he's just a game manager. He can't throw the football downfield. And again, I'm going on a rant here, but the matchup I think will be interesting because can the Ravens stop the run? They couldn't do it in a regular season matchup. I mean, there's a picture after Derrick Henry's walk-off overtime touchdown against the Ravens of Derek Wolfe just on his hands and knees, exhausted from that. It'll be, if the Titans come out and run the ball and punch the Ravens in the mouth like they did in the playoffs last year, like they did in the regular season matchup, where they just run the ball, stick with it, run the ball, and wear out that defense, it's going to be showing, and it will show on the final scoreboard. The Titans here, they have a chance to win a home playoff game for the first time since, I think, early 2000s. I think back when McNair was there. Like, it's been a long time coming for Titans fans to see their team win at home, and the fact that it could come against the Baltimore Ravens, it would be fitting. But I think the game plan for Tennessee here will be containing Lamar Jackson, similar to what they did last year. He's gonna throw. He's gonna get his yards. He's gonna throw for his yards. He's gonna run for his yards. It's red zone defense, and the Titans' defense this year has been terrible. I really didn't see that coming from this defense, from this unit. I mean, outside of a couple injuries and new pieces here and there, the defense is basically the same, especially in the secondary. Outside of the trade for Desmond King and drafting a Christian Fulton, I think losing Logan Ryan did hurt, but Christian Fulton is a cheaper option. He can play that role. He's young right now and still developing. It's just a matter of Tennessee, can you clamp down in a red zone where Titans fans are nervous with this defense, and I'm nervous with this defense, but I think can they flip the switch? We've seen it in New England with Bill Belichick and his defenses. Back when they won Super Bowl 53, their defense going into that playoffs was not really good. And for whatever reason, they flipped the switch. I believe they held the Chargers to around 14 points. I believe they held the Chiefs around the 30 points, which is telling. If you hold the Chiefs 30 points, you basically can win the game. And then they stopped the number one offense. Sean McVay's number one offense held them to 3 points, I believe it was. So, can Mike Vrabel do something similar with his defense? Can he do that similar thing that Bill Belichick can with his defense a couple years ago going into the playoffs? If Mike Vrabel can turn his defense into what Bill Belichick did a couple years ago with this Titans team is dangerous and almost unstoppable with their offense. If their defense can play stout in the playoffs, stop the run, go against the pass, this team is a force to be reckoned with. But pass rush is just not good. I think they're going to have to blitz, and blitzing can get you caught, but I think it will show with Lamar Jackson. Force him to throw outside the numbers. He has struggled doing that. Don't give him easy stuff over the middle. Cover up his tight ends. He obviously doesn't really like throwing to receivers, and outside of Hollywood Brown, there's really no name in terms of wide receivers that should scare defense. Cover up Mark Andrews and really play contain against Lamar's legs. Don't let him get comfortable rushing the ball. And I think that's the game plan on defense at least. And the game plan on offense should be run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, keep the ball away from Lamar, punch him in the mouth, wear them down, and run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, play action, run the ball. I can't stress that enough. I know I've said run the ball at least 1,000 times in this podcast, but the Titans, if they're going to win this game, Derrick Henry needs to at least see the ball 30 times. 30 rushing attempts, and at least 2 or 3 times the ball thrown to him. I want to see 30 rushing attempts from Derrick Henry. I think if the Titans are going to go anywhere in this playoffs, it's on the back of their superstar running back. It's on the back of Derrick Henry. Let the king carry you to the promised land. And I think the message in Tennessee is, not being satisfied. Yeah, they won the division, but there's still plenty more that they can do. And this team gets hot with this running game. We saw it last year. This team gets hot with this running game where Derrick Henry gets hot, gets fed 30 times a game. They're going to be a force to reckon with. They're going to be really hard to beat. And I would watch out if I was Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Kansas City. If they can win this game off the run game and get hot with the running game, that's it. It's going to be tough to beat them, but it's a matter of, can they win this game? I believe the Titans can win this game. I'm picking the Titans because I believe in them, because I'm a fan of this team. I love this team, and I'm going to predict that they're going to win this game. And I'm not going to give a final score because it's not going to matter, because final scores are, when you pick a final score, it's basically irrelevant. It doesn't really matter, and 9 times out of 10, it's not right. So I'm picking Titans win this game. I think it's going to be a close one, and it's going to be a fun one to watch to start out the Sunday slate of games. Well, this is all I've had for this episode. Next episode, I will be recapping the national championship game, recapping Super Wildcard weekend, and I may start not a series, but like a segment where it's looking at each rookie quarterback from this past year's draft class, and just see where they at in terms of who won that draft in terms of rookie quarterbacks, or not really like won the draft, but just seeing where they're at after the rookie season, because Herbert has played out of his mind, Burrow played out of his mind, Tua, didn't really start until the midway through the season. He was kind of up and down, but it'll be interesting to just analyze these quarterbacks, look at these quarterbacks, and just see. And that is all I have for episode 3. Thank you for listening. Y'all have a great day. Enjoy Super Wildcard Weekend. If your team's not playing in it, I apologize. It sucks. I know that feeling as a Titans fan from a couple years ago when they basically won 5 games in a combined 2 years. But, hopefully your favorite team, they're rebuilding, they're getting better pieces, and pretty soon they'll be in the playoffs. But enjoy this weekend's football, enjoy the national championship game, and you know what? Just have fun with your family. Have fun. Just do something. Have fun. Go do something. Have fun. I know there's a lot of things you can't really do with COVID and all that, but do something that makes you happy. And that is all I have for today's episode of the Payne Report. Everyone, thank you for listening, and have a great day.